knowledge of students. This module helps us understand how teachers use student-specific 1.3 knowledge of students. This module helps us understand how teachers use student-specific information to design and deliver lessons that are relevant, appropriate, and connected to their students. Effective teachers have a clear understanding about the unique skills that each child brings to the classroom in order to plan and target instruction that meets each child's unique learning needs. Knowledge of students is one of the 4 dimensions in the planning domain. The overall definition reminds us that through knowledge of students and proven practices, the teacher ensures high levels of learning, social emotional development, and achievement for all students. What is implied in this definition is that the teachers acquire relevant knowledge about their students and use this information to guide instructional decisions. Lessons are designed with processes and strategies that build coherently and connect students' prior understanding and real-world experiences to the key points in this definition: high levels of learning, social emotional development, and achievement for all students. In order to ensure student learning, therefore, teachers must know not only their content and its related pedagogy, but also the students to whom they will teach that content. Let's first look at the connections to the Texas Teacher Standards as a foundation for this dimension. Standard 1 focuses on instructional planning and delivery. Teachers demonstrate their understanding of instructional planning and delivery by providing standards-based, data-driven, differentiated instruction that engages students, makes appropriate use of technology, and makes learning relevant for today's learners. Based on comprehensive planning, therefore, teachers ensure that instruction is standards-based, data-driven, and differentiated to meet the individual needs of each student. Effective teachers, therefore, plan instruction that is developmentally appropriate, standards-driven, and motivates students to learn. Instructional strategies are selected to make subject matter accessible to all students and incorporate technology and other instructional resources to promote student success in meeting learning goals. Teachers understand how to differentiate instruction and align instructional techniques with students' diverse learning needs and educational plans to make learning relevant in each classroom. Standard 2 of the Texas Teacher Standards is directly tied to this dimension and focuses specifically on knowledge of students and student learning. Teachers work to ensure high levels of student learning, social emotional development, and achievement outcomes for all students, taking into consideration each student's educational and developmental backgrounds and focusing on each student's needs. This reminds us that there is an expectation for teachers to demonstrate the belief that all students have the potential to achieve at high levels and support students in their pursuit of social emotional learning and academic achievement. Teachers acquire, analyze, and use background information to engage students in learning. This includes, but is not limited to, familial, cultural, educational, linguistic, and developmental characteristics. Effective teachers capitalize on learners' individual strengths as a basis for academic and social emotional growth. Differences in learning and background are seen as an asset in creating a community of learners, and teachers accept responsibility for the growth of all their students. Connecting learning, content, and expectations to students' prior knowledge, life experiences, and interests is evident in instructional planning and delivery. Teachers understand the unique qualities of their students and effectively address these through targeted instructional strategies and resources. Language and culture are also incorporated to support language acquisition at various stages of development. Understanding how learning occurs and how learners develop, construct, and acquire knowledge and skills is key, including how development in one area may affect other areas or disciplines. So, what are the key points to consider when we connect what has been discussed to teaching, learning, and t-tests? The basis for this dimension is that the teachers know and understand the students, their learning styles, interests, backgrounds, life experiences, and skills. Teachers design and execute quality lessons that are standards-based and data-driven, connect students' prior knowledge and life experiences, create relevance and link to interests, are differentiated to address individual learning patterns, habits, and needs, address strengths, skills, and unique needs, and connect to future learning expectations across content areas. There should be evidence from lesson to lesson that these elements are present in a way that consistently accounts for all students. What does the research reflect regarding this dimension, knowledge of students? Take a minute to read through these two references. The first citation reminds us that there is a direct correlation between student engagement and learner needs. When their learning needs are addressed, students see relevance and are engaged. The second citation reminds us that we must activate and use students' background knowledge as a basis for learning. Let's connect this learning to the t-test rubric and the knowledge of students dimension by reviewing the descriptors at the proficient, accomplished, and distinguished levels. The first set of descriptors focus on the teacher's ability to bridge the content being taught to the background and experiences of the students so that it is personally meaningful, relevant, and motivating. Effective teachers incorporate varied strategies in lesson design to assess what students already know and the experiences they bring to the lesson, using this information as a basis for connecting new learning. The second set of descriptors focus on how teachers know and understand their students and design and implement learning experiences which promote student-to-student interactions that capitalize on their varied strengths, background knowledge about the content and subject matter, life experiences as they relate to the learning goals and outcomes, and other skills. Guidance is provided to students as a transition to classroom interactions where students assume more responsibility for making this happen. Student feedback is used to further connect and tap their strengths with subsequent learning experiences which validate and challenge them to grow. Establishing processes for these student behaviors to occur regularly is paramount. The last set of descriptors tell us that there are opportunities for students to capitalize on their unique learning qualities as a means to achieve success by highlighting student styles, their patterns, habits, and needs. Teachers also integrate activities, materials, and resources that focus on the use of visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and/or tactile methods to teach key concepts and skills. Lessons are planned to include varied grouping strategies, pairs, triads, small groups, etc., with other instructional techniques to keep students motivated and engaged in learning in a student-centered manner. What are the connections to the t-test triangle? Knowledge of students is considered when planning lessons to design instruction that is tailored for the specific group of students in the classroom. Knowledge of students is also important during the actual execution of the lesson to connect with and engage students during actual instruction. Learner outcomes are standards-based, yet take into account who the students are as a point of entry for instruction. Evidence is collected and observed, therefore, in both the planning and delivery stages. Appraisers are looking at how teachers use what they know about students in purposeful ways. It's important to ask ourselves, what is the teacher saying and doing to capitalize and address students' needs? What are the students saying and doing that indicates their learning needs and differences are being met? Let's take knowledge of students to the practical application level and identify some of the key behaviors we would see and hear in practice. First, teachers are purposeful in utilizing students' individual strengths as a basis for academic and social-emotional growth. Also, teachers anticipate students' learning difficulties and incorporate differentiated strategies to address these needs and master what is being taught. A community of learners is established where teachers model continuous improvement, and differences in learning and background are viewed as an asset and platform for growth. Teachers also understand the unique qualities of their students with exceptional needs, including cultural, educational, linguistic, disabilities, and giftedness, and seek opportunities to learn how to effectively address these needs so that instruction is fully accessible. Last, teachers understand how learners develop and construct meaning and the relationship of these concepts to acquiring specific knowledge and skills. While these practices represent a few of the ways that we would see knowledge of students play out in practice, these teacher behaviors are evident through individual planning and collaborative planning with other staff. It's important to ask ourselves what types of data and assessments teachers regularly use to develop learning profiles for their students. There is a direct correlation between how the lesson is planned and executed during instruction as a cyclical process. The lesson results and the use of data and assessments, both formal and informal, are used to inform subsequent planning as a refined process. Teachers and appraisers are looking for how students are making progress towards the learner outcomes and how planning and instruction are used to close performance. One point three, knowledge of students.